Hi there YouTube, it's Kevin here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be filming a review-esque video that is outside of my genre range. Today I'm going to be filming a review of the BlackPink In Your Area concert in Chicago, and I'm going to give you guys pretty much all the details that you need to know if you plan to attend any of these specific concerts, or logistics and stuff that I went through in my experience. I'm filming this video actually because, well, I mean, obviously it's not my genre, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that I review for my, main Hypebeast review stuff else on my channel, generally revolves around my frustration with sizing and review guides on YouTube, or, just resources in general about the items. And I found that with BlackPink concert, there was a lot of miscommunication throughout, and I'm not blaming anyone at all, but just sitting here, I struggled a lot to find the information and details that I needed for the concert, and I figured it'd be pretty helpful to create generally a guide for people who are planning on attending this concert in the future. And I did end up getting the highest tier of access, and I'll do a little bit more of the concert experience and the opinions later, but I wanted to get the logistics kind of out the door, and these are pretty much the unbiased objective stuff that happened. So if you're interested in my opinion on everything, go towards the end, but at the very beginning I'm going to flesh out everything you need to know about the concert. So let's get to the video. Bear with me, my items are kind of everywhere right now, but to start off the video, I'm going to say that I did get the VIP package, which includes a GA ticket, a soundcheck entrance, as well as a send-off, and specifically catered merch and a lanyard. And so, from the things that I did obtain, I guess we'll start with the lanyard. This is what the lanyard looks like. It says VIP on it, you have the BlackPink lanyard, and on the back you have all the girls and the location. The special merch that you get as a VIP kind of participant is this tote bag that says BlackPink 2019 In Your Area Tour with Kia. And this is the black tote bag. It's surprisingly a tote bag that was allowed in the venue, so anything that you put in the tote bag was, well, I mean, obviously you can't have cameras or flash photography or DSLRs because, generally that harms the performer's ability to perform, but it was a lot easier for them to search through the process. I ended up just leaving this in my car, so it didn't really matter. And aside from the tote bag, you also got this bandana, which is pretty much a white bandana with BlackPink written all over. It's a pretty cool touch, but I mean, for paying $400, eh. But anyways, objective. That's what you get. So these are the items that you get upon check-in, and upon check-in you also get this wristband. It's the purple VIP wristband in your area, and this specific wristband was actually numbered, but the number on this wristband doesn't matter. And so after you check in, you get your wristband, you go to, well, whenever your sound check opens, you're supposed to go line up for sound check. And for sound check, they hand out a separate wristband, which is a GA wristband. That I don't know, for regional differences, etc., etc., they might have different colored wristbands, etc., but this one was orange. It was a GA wristband for the sound check, and the number on your GA wristband mattered for sound check. So the higher the number you had, the earlier you could actually go into sound check. And so the sound check line started at around 2 p.m. for me, and the actual letting people in, etc., started around 4:45, closer to 5 p.m. And it was much later than what actually was expected. I think I was told 4:30, but I don't remember the actual event starting until 5:15 or something along those lines. For the sound check, you are absolutely not allowed to film, record, or do anything with pictures, etc., etc. If you do, proceed with caution, because they straight up just escort people out of the venue and you're not allowed to re-enter. And so don't risk it. Like, if you're spending a lot of money on it, just don't risk it for photos, etc., etc. After the sound check, they told us pretty much the details regarding, like, the send-off and, like, the lines for general admission. So if you're a VIP, you also get early access into the venue. And so the way that the venue that I went to organized it was, the sound check ended at around 5:30, and they escorted all the VIP members out of sound check and through the door, placed them outside in this cage-like place. They pretty much just fenced up the place and said, you guys are the VIPs. Don't leave this VIP cage, because if you do, it'll be a complicated process for you to get back into the cage. The purpose of the cage, I call it a cage because that's what I literally felt like it was for an hour, was to enable convenience for people to go back into the venue. And so it was a little bit unreasonable, just because the security guards, like, the only convenience that you would get by waiting there for an hour outside in slight rain is that you don't have to go through security again. But I mean, it more and more felt complicated because I felt like that cage itself was the only way that you would get, like, early access into the GA admission to, you know, get a good spot for the concert. And so the majority of people just ended up waiting outside for an hour to early enter. And so at around, like, you know, what they said, like 6:30-ish or 6 p.m., I can't even remember the exact time, they let us all back in. They checked your tickets, your wristbands, wristbands being the purple one here, and yeah, if that was all clear, they gave you a second one. And I'm pretty sure this is the wristband that they gave for the send-off. It's just like another way to verify it, but if this wasn't the send-off wristband, this was probably the early access wristband, and this one here would have just been giving you access to send off. I'm not sure what the wristbands meant in particular. I'm giving you guys my hypotheses. Take it with a grain of salt. But anyways, that was what happened. And I mean, it really was my first GA event, so I don't really know how GA works, but from what I understood, like, just the spot in general mattered a lot. So being able to go in there and get, like, a spot that was, like, near the rim, metal concealing things, I don't know, I don't really know how to, like, say it, but that was really cool because you really did have, like, a really nice concert experience to be able to get that early access in there. Because I know a lot of people were closer to the back with, like, normal GA tickets, and the experience just probably isn't as, like, as intimate or, like, as... I'm struggling to find a word. Anyways, that's kind of the early access situation. So after you get your early access wristband or your send-off wristband, you just go inside and you're free to, like, you know, generally, like, roam, get food, pizza, etc., etc., but why would you? Because you're there to hold the spot. And so the entire concert goes on. I mean, opinions on the concert a little later, but concert goes on, and then at the very end they did instruct, like, a send-off location. Like, when you check in, you get this little, like, tiny little printed piece of paper that says, oh, this is where the send-off is happening. And so there was a lot of confusion where the send-off was actually located, because a lot of people thought it was, like, you know, behind the actual stage versus, like, you know, you have to, like, go out of the general stage area and then in the hallways, etc., etc. It turned out to be in the hallways, and we waited around, like, 45 to 50 minutes to see the girls, and the girls came out for around 5 minutes. And they went around, I think I saw someone, like, sign them, but a lot of fans generally just did hearts, and they completed them, said, cheered for them, etc., etc. It was a really, really interesting moment. I have mixed feelings about it, but generally speaking, it was pretty cool. As for the send-off, though, there is something that I did want to touch upon. This is more or less an objective opinion on the send-off. It really sucked for the send-off people who figured out where the location was afterwards, because they were really, really in the back. And so the way it worked was they made this, like, barricade, and the girls would walk around, go do, like, a simple catwalk, like, strut to engage the fans. And what I found was that, like, you know, like, I was like maybe in the second layer of people, like, so I was relatively close, but there were people in like the fourth or the fifth, and I just kind of felt really bad, you know, like those people are paying like the same amount of money as I am to be able to see them off, and they only get to really experience like just the fifth row of like engagement. And like, you know, generally speaking, like it gives the fandom a really bad rep if you're like pushing, if you're being aggressive, if you're being like obnoxious. And so a lot of fans were really like reserved, and I mean, mixed feelings, you know. It's like, man, if I were in that person's shoes, it really wouldn't have been worth it. But who knows, maybe they did think it was worth it. Maybe that was the case. But that was kind of the end of it. The concert ended around 10 o'clock, and the send-off occurred around like roughly 10:55, after we got to the location and just waited for like 40 minutes or something. But yeah, that was the general concert. Logistics-wise, I didn't get an email about any sort of details until the day of the event at 7:43 a.m. from Ticketmaster. And I was pretty upset about that because being someone who had to drive up, like the scheduling and conflicts were a lot more difficult to manage than I actually expected. And I mean, you know, it was a little stressful. I had a really kind friend who was willing to work with my schedule, so I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, those are the general logistics of the VIP experience. And I'm gonna kind of cover a little bit of my opinion moving forward now, but and like generally just like a concert report, I suppose. So yeah, let's get to that. First things first, I bought a couple of merch, so I splurged like really hard on merch. I really like this shirt, mainly because my bias is laid down in the center. It has a really nice autograph, and on the very back it has all the locations. Super unique, something to really commemorate the moment. I also bought a couple other things because I actually never got a chance to get a light stick, so getting a light stick was pretty nice. The light stick itself is pretty cool. I like it a lot. Well designed. Worth 45? Maybe not. Maybe like 30. But I mean, if you're at the event, it's more than nice. I bought this travel pillow because for those of you who are, you know, coming from external sources that I wanted to share the information with, I travel a lot, and so getting a pillow like this for traveling is an incredibly comfortable thing to do, and it made sense for me because it was like, I don't know, like $40 or $45. It was like typically what a pillow like this would cost at the airport. So plus it has a hood, so you can kind of just sleep in peace. It's a very convenient pillow. I like it. Super cute, and yeah, cool pillow. And the last thing that I got was the poster, and this is mainly because I will be moving to my own place, and I just wanted to add like a little bit of decor. So poster is super nice, it's super simple, and it's really just like the girls and the location. If this could have been signed, I would have been extremely happy, but I mean, that's a little too much to ask. But at the same time, you know, it was a good experience. So, let's talk a couple more deeper opinions about the actual event. I thought that the communication of logistics was really complicated. I actually didn't find out that you needed a GA wristband with a number, because that's what the GA line was based off of, until later, because I never really got one from the person who was giving out the GA wristbands. I was just like super confused when someone was like doing numbers. The number on your actual VIP wristband don't matter, at least it didn't for me, and that was really confusing. It was also super confusing because the email that they sent out was you should be there by 2 p.m. in order to, you know, like get things accordingly, I think is what they said in the email. It was like, oh, I looked at that email, I was just like, wow, this really doesn't tell me that much information at all. But anyways, I really did get there before 2 p.m., so I didn't really worry. But I mean, if you were getting like a later number in the soundcheck line, I can totally see what they mean by like, if you get there at a certain time, like it'd be pretty bad. That was a little complicated. I think the part where it was the interlude between the soundcheck and the actual concert was a little bit over the top for me. It was like, if you have a VIP wristband, why can't you just have them go through expedited security anyways and have them just line up separately and go through a faster line? But I mean, at the same time, it's just like, oh, that was just so annoying. Like waiting an hour in like, I think it was like 53-degree weather. It wasn't bad, but it was like still slightly cold. That was just, I didn't really like it. Definitely not a fan. That was a little over the top for me, but at the same time, you know, I got to meet new people. A couple of people were like super, super cool. Like, shout out to Joe, shout out to Sherry, shout out to Alan. You know, a lot of people who I talked to who are just generally like cool people, vibed with them. And I mean, everyone there is like a K-pop fan of some sort. And especially if you're in VIP, like you definitely like them enough to, you know, talk about things in the K-pop genre. And so it wasn't really unbearable because you get to meet new people, but you really do have to like kind of put yourself out there and do the meeting part of meeting new people. Yeah, that was really cool. Also, on the lines of shouting out Jerry and Alan, thank you two for approaching me. They're subscribers already, and I like took a step back when I was just like, wow, people were like, you know, like approaching me as subs, and that was a little weird. I'm like not a big YouTuber. But, you know, that was cool. Thank you guys for saying hi and hanging out. And yeah, during the actual concert, I thought it was super cool. There are some opinions I have about GA now, because that was my first GA experience. I usually get seated. For GA, it's really lit, super loud, best like sound experience. My ears are still blown out right now. And I really like the GA experience. Like, it was really nice, but I think that there are some people who should be in GA and some people who shouldn't. I mean, this is an opinion now, so the GA experience was so weird because there was a family in GA. Like, there was a straight up like family just like standing right in front of me. I'm like, there was like a 7-year-old like girl who was like probably like 3'9". I was just like sitting there, I'm like, why are you in GA, girl? You're not gonna see anything. That sucks. So, friendly advice, if you're a family, get seated for the sake of your children. But anyways, yeah, that was a GA experience. I had like 400 level IQ, and I knew that GA would be really hot and really sweaty, so I wore like purposely this super thin shirt. But that kind of backfired on me when I was waiting outside during the interlude between the sound check and the actual event, because it was so cold. I felt like I was just straight up topless, but, you know, whatever. Alright, that was the actual concert. If you're a family, please don't be in GA. Like, that's just kind of weird. But, I mean, who am I to tell people how to spend their money? Alright, let's talk the send-off. I think the send-off was the thing that I was most disappointed in. Generally just because, like, for the VIP package, you're paying like 2 or 3 times more than what other people pay. And I think the send-off is like really the crux of the experience in VIP. Like, I mean, anyone else can go to the concert, anyone else can get soundcheck tickets. Like, soundcheck tickets are like probably like 60, 80-ish. Like, you're actually paying like 4 times as much as someone who's going through soundcheck. And so the VIP send-off is like a big deal, in my opinion, at least. And so during the send-off, you're waiting like an excruciating amount of time after like standing all day. And so that was a little weird. I mean, they should have brought like some water or like some seats. That would have been nice. Generally just because we're all exhausted for being there for so long. But you know, I mean, I can't really control the staff. They're already really busy because, you know, they're dealing with some super hot shots. So, no salt to the staff whatsoever. They're really kind, they're really patient, awesome people. Shout out to the guy with cool shoes. Yeah, but I think that, like, what really got me during the send-off was that, like, there were just people who were in the 4th and 5th part, and you actually just can't see the girls at that point. And I felt so bad for them. Like, it's like, I mean, I was telling someone at some point during the day, I mean, like, there are 2 types of fans. They're the aggressive ones and they're the passive ones. And usually the ones who get what they want are the aggressive ones. And whether you like it or not, it's pretty true. It's like the proactive ones get really the better things, like stuff that gets signed, you know, etc., etc. So, I mean, generally speaking, great concert. The girls are great. They're much prettier in person. They're much more talented when you see them soloing. It's just like absolutely amazing and surreal, like to just be within like centimeters of one of the idols. But I mean, in terms of whether or not like the entire VIP experience was worth $400, maybe not. I'd say it'd probably be worth around like $300, just because the things that I price and like being able to see like resell on certain things, that's pretty much the ballpark price I give it. I mean, obviously these are my opinions, and you know, no matter how much you hate on me or no matter how much you support me, you're not gonna change my opinion of what I experience. Like, it's futile. But at the end of the day, BlackPink fans, super nice, super great people, and probably one of the best fan bases that I've been a part of, and proud to call myself like a Blink or like generally in this fandom. Super nice people. Yeah, that will conclude the concert review and everything. If you have any questions about the experience, logistics, etc., feel free to leave them down below, because I know how frustrating it was to actually go through the logistical nightmare. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll be very, very attentive and try to answer them as fast as possible. Thank you guys for tuning in to a super long video, but obviously if you're really interested in the entire experience, this is mine. And thank you, BlackPink, for coming to Chicago. I really appreciated it. Your music is amazing. You guys are all super talented and super pretty. And yeah, well, until next time, see you in April Favorites this Sunday. Goes a little something like